Good day everyone, I am Dennis Kinikito Epon, BSED Social Studies 2. For today's video, I am going to discuss the inclusive education in Indonesia under the inclusive education in the other country. But before that, let us know first our learning objectives. So our learning objectives is, at the end of the lesson, the student would be able to identify the impact of inclusive education in Indonesia, enumerate the positive and negative effect of inclusive education in Indonesia, value the individual differences among the learner's needs. But before we start, try to look at the picture in the screen. So what did you see in the screen? Right, it is the student or children with disability. So maybe you all familiar what is our topic for today. So let's start. Unit 1. Definition, goals, and scope of special and inclusive education. My topic is all about inclusive education in Indonesia, equality education access for disabilities, under inclusive education in other countries. So what is inclusive education? Inclusive education involves teaching all students in the same age-appropriate general education classroom at their local school regardless of the challenges they face. In some countries such as Indonesia, inclusive education is used as synonym for special education or the education of students with disability. So in Indonesia, it is the education for students with disability. So ibig sabihin, ito yung okasyon ng mga batang may kapansanan. 1 out of 10 people around the world is bled, and that poverty experienced by the disabled is a direct and indirect result of the exclusion and marginalization of people with disability. The UN report showed that 90% of children with disability in developing countries still do not attend school, and the literacy rate of adults disabled is predicted only 1%. So, mas malaki yung mga batang may kapansanan kasi it shows there that children with disabilities is 90% and the adult with disability is 1% only. Indonesia has ratified the Salamanca Declaration about Equal Education Access for Persons with Disabilities and has placed CWSN in special schools that are different from normal children. So they implement the education for students with disabilities but different to normal children. The article reviews various studies regarding the implementation of inclusive school in Indonesia to get a picture of the process of eliminating discrimination against students with special needs in Indonesian school, and equal educational opportunities for persons with disability create employment opportunities leading to poverty. So let's proceed. Development of roles on disability in Indonesia. Indonesia has made rules for people with disabilities since 1947, including the publication of title Bir Kakat in 1947. So Indonesian made rules on 1947. It is the rules for people with disabilities in Indonesia, and in 1947 they published Bir Kakat, which is focuses only on the students or the children with disabilities. Implementation of inclusive education in Indonesia. Implementation of inclusive education in Indonesia provides an opportunity for students with special needs to be able to get an education. So, implementation inclusive education in Indonesia provides opportunity for those students or children with disabilities to learn or to enhance their abilities and to improve their self-esteem in schools. Indonesian government regulation expressly states that schools cannot reject the inclusive student due to disability that is owned by the student. The Indonesian government states that students with disability has the right to study. Walang pwedeng tumutol sa mga batang may kapansanan na mag-aral sa Indonesia. Because in Indonesia, students with disability is special. Student with disability has the right to study and has the right to learn. Indonesia has several legal bases that can be used to implement inclusive schools, such as UU number 4 of 1997 on persons with disabilities, UU number 23 of 2002 on the protection of children, and UU number 20 of 2003 on National Education System. They implement this UU for the sake of the special child or student with disabilities. Inclusive school, positive effect or negative effect. So, ang inclusive school ba ay may positibong epekto or may negatibong epekto? So, malalaman natin ngayon. Participation of students with special needs in public school has a positive effect on the environment and the school community. So, it is clear that the inclusive education has a positive effect on the environment and on the community. Why? Because this is very important for children with disabilities to enhance their self-esteem, to improve their ability in school. Other studies have found that children with special needs can develop self-esteem well in inclusive school. Therefore, inclusive education can provide opportunities for students with disabilities to have the opportunity to attend school. So, inclusive education in Indonesia is clearly stated that all students with disability or all children with disability has the opportunity to go to school. Limited amount of SLB can be overcome by increasing the number of inclusive schools so that students with disabilities in Indonesia have more opportunity to attend school. So they implemented more schools in Indonesia for students with special needs. They implemented many schools for students with special needs because in any places in Indonesia, we cannot deny the fact that there are people with disabilities. So they invented or they make schools for them. So I think that you learned for our discussion for today. And in this point, I will give you an activity. So instruction, make a fishbone diagram of the positive and negative effect of inclusive education. So as what I have said earlier, that inclusive education has a positive effect on environment and in the community. So you have to make a fishbone diagram of the positive and negative effect on inclusive education. So, in negative effect of inclusive education, you must need to research what is the negative effect of inclusive education. So, that's all for today. Thank you for listening, everyone, and I hope that you learned for our discussion. God bless.